All right, everybody. Hope you're doing great. I got here in the office. Podcast today, actually, from a motivation perspective, comes from a question that was asked me by Jared on IG. Wanted to know what you should do when it comes to career or schooling, and just the high cost of debt when it comes to going to college. And so my answer to that is it's a little more complicated than just, hey, should I go to college or not? From the perspective of a lot of people don't know at the age of 18 what they want to be doing. And so they don't know what's the best college to even go to. Should I incur all that debt? Am I going to get the rate of return that I want based on that college education? And so really what I would do is have a look at a couple things. Number one is I think a lot of times people, they discount or they don't think of the network that you're going to build when you go to college. So look at your current network at high school. Are those people, are they go-getters? Are they driven to go get more than what's currently being fed in front of them? And that's going to be able to help align you with the right group of people. A lot of times people will talk about their college buddies, college friends. They might even marry their college sweetheart. And so it's these huge opportunities that when you go to college that you really can't put a price on when it comes to the overall student loan debt. At the same time, are there ways that you can reduce that debt? Community college is a great one. A lot of times look at the overall curriculum. Do you still have to do general education? And so maybe there's an opportunity to be able to do that online or at a community college, reduce that cost. If you're going to a different state, work there, live there for a year, establish that residency, and then that way then when you apply, you're going to get in-state tuition. The costs are excessively low. And then as you go, so when you think about going to college, number one, obviously you're thinking about, okay, what would I be doing there? If in high school you didn't really enjoy that, but think about the different skills. Like there's welding, there's carpentry, there's, like engineering. There's a whole multitude of different facets that aren't just typical four-year degrees, right? So if you go, I get a finance degree, a business degree, I think a lot of people talk about that when it comes to business, but maybe you can go get to your local community college and get like an entrepreneurship, maybe you can get a sales certificate. And so what you're doing is you're getting a specific skill set that can instantaneously be applied. I'd say one of the strong things that community colleges have done over the years is they've worked with local employers in the community to make sure that their education aligns with the entry-level roles that they're looking for. And so that can be extremely powerful. Four-year degrees, a lot of times we'll get some different sponsorships or some different partnerships with some different organizations, but I find that the overall community college is working with businesses right there in their own backyard, and that makes them a little bit more nimble. The other thing that I have a look at when it comes to college is, again, look at that network. Do you have people that are wanting to go places, or are they basically just looking for the weekend? And for me personally, professionally, working for the weekend doesn't add any value to what someone has aspirationally in life. And so if that's the network that you have, are people that are only constantly looking to Saturdays and Sundays and not focus on what they want to build in life Monday to Friday, then you might want to be able to go to college in order to build that network and get involved with, student body, get involved with clubs and other organizations to be able to really round out your overall experience and your overall skill set. And that's the people side of college that I don't think gets talked about. So just to kind of remember with my bias, right? So I went to college, and so I had, even to this day, I have a real close group of buddies that I went to college with, and they've impacted my life in immense ways that it's probably incalculable on their impact on me. And so for me to say to totally discount college would be really obsolete, just because it would completely change the trajectory of my life. The other thing that I would say when it comes to going to college is that there's lower cost ways to kind of go about it. So some people will talk about how expensive it is, and then I'll say, well, have you looked at like the military route? There's a lot of people, I know even a ton of physicians, doctors that went the military route because that was their end game, and they knew that if they put in 7 years post graduation that into being in the reserve or but their skill set was medicine, then they knew that they're giving time versus money up front, and that's exactly the opposite. People that don't want to go the military route, there is financial aid that's available. A lot of times if you do have parents that are active in your life, you need to include their compensation, but a lot of times if you can go have a conversation with the financial aid office and just be like, look, my parents have never gone to this college, they're not going to help me at all, it's all me, and so they're going to work with you. A lot of times too, people don't know if they're a minority, they're an underrepresented ethnicity. A lot of times there's grants, there's different funding that's going to be scholarships that are available to you. That's going to help again drive that cost down lower. Are we investigating? Are we finding out those solutions to get to where we want to go? And then finally, the last thing that I would say is if I look at college, so the disparity between those in the United States that have just graduated high school and those that have a college degree, on average, it's a 3 times more right out of the gate of income difference. And it is proven that the more education you get, the more income you get. Now, getting that master's degree may or may not translate to that jump in increase based on the cost of that master's degree. But again, that's digging in a little bit deeper. I'd focus first and foremost 2-year or 4-year degree, what's going to be able to lead you to where you ultimately want to go. And if you don't know, right? So that's really where I think a lot of times students, young folks, they feel like they need to have all things buttoned up. They need to know exactly where things are going to go, and it's okay not to. I would definitely say do a little research, right? So if you're looking at your local community college, what do they offer there, and what seems of interest? And what you'll find is you're either going to gravitate more towards numbers, more towards people, more towards health. And you know what I mean? Like, we all have different interests, and then you know which area to go in. And if you go to the community college, it's gonna be a lot more to be able to kind of experiment with some different courses, some different classes, than go straight to the 4-year university. And so it can give you the opportunity to, quote unquote, try out where you want to go. The other thing that I would say is, depending on your drive and your desire to learn, you can go and start your own thing. Just know that when you start your own thing, you're learning through the school of hard knocks. And so don't just go to work. I would go to work, but then I would be learning, I would be reading, I would be watching videos on how I can get better. The more that you put in your frame of mind on what you want to get, the more likely you are that you're going to move forward in a way that's meaningful. So let me just give you an example. A buddy of mine out of high school just started as a surveyor, phenomenal individual. And so for, was it 12 years, he worked for someone else. And with the whole point, though, it wasn't that he was going to go start his own thing, but it was just to work. He needed to go earn a living, and that's what he did. And so he'd be pounding stakes into the ground, out traffic and out different places, surveying. And then he wanted to go out on his own, so he got certified to be a actual surveyor that he could stamp blueprints, plans, project plans, developments. He could stamp it. Was totally out of his element. Does not like schooling. Does not like that function of taking a test, but did it in order to then go off on his own and run his own business. And so for him, there was a lot of times where he would just go in and work and check out. But then the moment that he started his own thing, now all of a sudden he was reading all about, leadership and hiring and firing and negotiations and how to run a business, E-Myth Revisited. And so he started building up this entire library of all these different books, trying to learn more. Plus, then he reached out to his own network, trusted advisors that could give him good advice, accountants, attorneys, financial advisors, insurance agents, and the like. And so when he became an entrepreneur, there was a lot of self-driven learning that didn't come out of a classroom. But he would tell me it took a lot of hard work. If you compared someone that comes right out of college with a 4-year degree, let's say in finance, they understood what it took him years to be able to figure out on the fly. Because when you're in the midst of running the business, it's not like you can take 8 hours and go study. It was trying to squeeze it in running the business. Understand that there's going to be a cost to get to where you want to go. The question is, do you want to put it up on the front end? Do you want to put it out during it? I would say more likely not, most people, if they want to move their career in a way that's meaningful for them, they're going to be constantly learning. And so the question is do you want to incur some debt in order to give yourself a springboard into where you want to go? If ultimately you just want to run your own business, I'd find out first, what do you want to be doing? Go work for somebody in your local community, answering phones, whatever it takes, learn from them, and then in 4 or 5 years, go and do your own thing. A lot of times, those that are successful enjoy sharing how they got to where they wanted to be. And you could be informal mentee or apprentice in that kind of capacity. So, Jared, hopefully this is helpful. Sherm's out.